Hello guys, Wally T here. Just a little disclaimer, there will be spoilers at the end of the video. So I finally finished Kazan, and I loved it. It made me scream and curse every single divinity. Mannaggia quel porco di porca But yeah, I loved it. Sure, it has some problems, like I said in my first video, but honestly, I found the combat to be one of the best, if not the best, since Sekiro. So, is Kazan really worth your time? In my last video about Kazan I complained about boss stamina and a few other things, but now that it's over, I gotta say I was wrong. Every boss is like a dance, a really fucking hard dance. But if you are patient and willing to learn when to counter, when to guard, and when to roll, almost every fight feels just right. I honestly think Kazan has one of the best boss rosters in any Souls-like. Sure, there is some bullshit here and there, a couple of annoying fights, but for the most part, it's awesome. There are tons of clues to read the enemy moves, flashing lights, sound cues, and other small details that make the fights feel fair. Take the final boss for example. At first I thought it was total bullshit. I died for hours, but then I learned the patterns. And it ended up being one of my favorite final boss ever, way better than the final boss of Shadow of the Erd 3, at least for me. But I can't say the same for regular enemies. After a few hours they just become straight up annoying. Those shitty bats, shield skeletons motherfuckers, and those ridiculous snipers made me want to skip everything and just rush straight to the boss. And don't even get me started on the poison swamp, with the 300 spiders crawling at you like a nightmare. Just stop. Swamps are not fun. Blighttown was shit in the first Dark Souls, and guess what? It's shit here too. A no fun slow-ass slog of frustration. I only explored more because of the collectibles, which are mandatory if you want the true ending. I played the whole game using the Great Sword, and let me tell you, it has the best moveset for a Great Sword I have ever played. I also loved the skill system. You can switch skills for free and they actually change the flow of a fight in a big way. There is a good replay value with the New Game Plus and the option to try different weapons, but since exploration sucks shit, I'm not doing it again unless they drop a solid DLC. So if you care more about exploration, stay away from this game, but if you love a good combat system and you loved Sekiro back then, you love Kazan too. So, the exploration is just boring, at least for me. There is some good enemy variety in the first half of the game, but later on it just gets really annoying, especially when they put those goddamn bats in places like this. I swear, they made me scream more than some bosses. The later levels are a bit more interesting, sure, but their direction is just a brown, muddy mess. Seriously, the shit I talked this morning had more personality than some of those areas. And look, I actually like linear games after thousands of open world, it's refreshing. But if you go full linear, I expect something more, and Kazan Endgame just doesn't deliver. And I'm not saying I want Elden Ring levels of detail, but considering how badass are the characters, armors and enemy design, it's a damn shame the world feels so forgotten. Especially when you look at the colorful work they were doing before Kazan. I'm not saying I need the rainbow vomit, but something more than a brown on brown would have been nice. The story started off interesting and definitely peaked with the final boss and the relationship with the Blade Phantom, but overall it's just poorly told. Yeah, you got a few cutscenes, some notes scattered around to dig deeper, but I was hoping for some stylish anime level epic shit. Instead, what we get is a pretty standard revenge plot with a few cool moments, nothing bad, but nothing that really hit me emotionally either. I already forgot the name of all the side characters. That said, I did enjoy the final boss and his motivations. Still, if they had given that fight a stronger, more emotional build-up, with better directed cutscenes, it could have gone from cool to legendary. The game runs smoothly, easy 60 FPS. Even if I had a few drops in the last hours, but that's probably because of the quick resume on Xbox. What really stood out to me is the audio design. It's amazing how much the sound enhanced the combat. The brink guard, the parries, the audio cues before a grab or a big move. It's all super crisp, and incredibly helpful during fights. Huge shout out to the devs for nailing that part. It's time to talk about the bosses, so watch out for the spoilers. The boss roster is honestly super fun, intense and well designed. I died so many times and I loved almost every moment of it. The only boss that was super easy was the first one, Yetuga. The Blade Phantom was also easy, but still a great and well balanced fight that teaches stamina management early and keeps you hooked. The first real difficulty spike for me was Viper. Tons of aggressive moves, 2 full phases, the lighting, the fast pacing, absolutely thrilling. He appears early, maybe too early, but it showcased the potential of the combat system. Then came Volbano, and I just wasn't ready. I hadn't figured out Reflect yet, and I died over and over. It was not really a fun fight, but it was really satisfying when I figured out how to beat him. Aratra had a fun gimmick, breaking his limbs mid-fight, and I actually enjoyed it. It's simple, but smashing a spider arms off was satisfying. Rangkus was a low point for me. His flamethrower is so random, his stamina regen is too fast, and overall it wasn't just fun. Maluka, oh man, Maluka made me better at the game. He's aggressive, chaotic, and requires you to start digging into the skill tree. I love this dual katana chaos style, and how you slowly learn to parry and counter him. Was probably my favorite fight. Elaine seems divisive. I actually like her. She's tiny and hard to read, doesn't lose stamina from blocks, which is a pain. But the fight still worked for me. Could have been more aggressive to reward parries, but still good. Shaktuka was forgettable. I don't remember anything about this boss, that's all I can say. Trocca drove me crazy at first, because chasing her with the greatsword was really a pain. But later I realized it might be the best mage fight in a Souls-like. Her moves make you dodge and stay aggressive. She's way more fun than Beleriand, who was a nightmare. Always running away, spawning annoying mini-bosses, tracking projectiles, screen darkening is just too much. I ended up throwing items at her in frustration. Scalpel was tough. His second phase, where he bleeds out over time, adds tension. It punishes every mistake hard. If you play well it's okay, if not you're done. Great design overall. Elina and Reese were easier but had cool moves. Elina in particular had a cool moveset and was very parry satisfying. And then there is Ismar. Boring, waste your time. Flies around, barely attacks, ton of health, is just a slog. Better than other dragons in other game, but still not fun. And finally, we have Ozma. And it's a 3-phase fight if you go for the true ending. Phase 1 is long, and probably the hardest for me. But once you learn it, the rest falls into place. The third phase being easier makes sense. He's on his last legs, and the cinematic final chain attack is so satisfying. One of the best final bosses in the genre. Yeah, this roster was absolutely intense and super fun. So, is Kazan really worth your time? The combat is just perfect, the boss fights are intense and memorable, it's got good longevity, it runs well, and overall, it's just a lot of fun. That said, the exploration really drags it down. If you're not in it for the combat, this might not be your kind of game, and of course it's really hard, so be ready to scream, rage, and maybe cry a little. Still, it's one of my favorite games of the year so far, and I'm giving it a solid 8 out of 10. If they make a sequel with better level design, we could be looking at a real masterpiece. I really can't wait to see what they do next. If I had to compare it with Lies of P, the last non-From Software Souls-like I played, I'd say Kazan is a tad below. Lies of P had a more impactful atmosphere and story, but when it comes to pure combat, Kazan is on a whole other level. And that's all guys, hope you liked this video. If you wanna subscribe, leave a comment or drop a like, you're always welcome. Till next time, take care brothers.